Welcome everyone to the OWinners webinar. We're glad to have every one of you here. We just had a performance by Skeeper, lovely on passive songs and lots of energy and enthusiasm. Thank you very much, Skeeper, for doing that. We also want to thank Marcienne Hemabu and Sylvie Wanji. They can wave to us. They are our co-hosts today and greeted us before we went live. Thank you so much. We also want to thank Bob Takusi and Oliver Fonte. They are the hosts and creators of this webinar. Wave to us. Thank you so much. So we're going to begin right away. The code of conduct, I decided to just post it in the chat. So I think you can read it rather than me verbally going over the rules. I'm going to see if it works. If you folks are able to read and follow, then I won't ever have to verbalize the rules. Okay, so our topic tonight is the growth of ONPASSIVE and its superiority. And we are so pleased to have three ONPASSIVE Nation guys here to talk about their journey with ONPASSIVE Nation. Dan, Mike, and Marty. So we're going to begin with Marty, and when they're done, we're going to open it up for questions. People can ask questions of them. So let's start with Marty DeGarmo. You can take the floor.
Hello, everyone. And man, that young man can sing. Holy cow. Very good. You're a superstar, man. Great job.
Before you begin, can you pass the host to me before we forget?
Okay, I'm going to throw a Hail Mary, so catch it.
And I'll make you co-host. And then we'll begin. Thank you. Go ahead, Marty.
There we go. Yeah, I've been online since online existed, but full time for 18 years. This is my 18th year. And for most of those years, I got in full time in 2004. I was looking for a way to make money, obviously. And I can't even tell you the first business I ever did, but I did hundreds. I was in every business you could imagine. I tried them all. And as time went on, you realize either most of the time they fail or they shut down or they set the bar so high you'd have to be a physicist to figure out how to do the marketing. It's very hard, very, very hard. And time went on. I didn't want to quit because I didn't know what else I could do. I would wound up on disability, so I couldn't go out and get a job. So, and my family grew faster than my income did. But anyway, about 10 years ago, I started to learn how to market because all this crazy stuff they tell you, do this, do that. You got to be positive, make a list. Yeah, that sounds great. But if it worked, why do they keep telling you it? It's not working. It doesn't work. So I had to learn the best I could on how to create traffic, targeted traffic for myself. It's very difficult because there's things that you're just not as good at. Well, about 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I ran into Mike Ellis. We were in a webinar. I can't remember exactly what happened. Mike probably remembers better than I do. But somehow, I believe Mike called me, or we were in a webinar about something, and we just hit it off, and we formed a team. It was not called ONPASSIVE Nation at the time. I don't know what it was called. The two old guys or something like that. But anyway, so we teamed up, and we got to the point where Mike's pluses and what I could do together, it just helps when you have a team. And we started to get to the point we could build teams. So we thought, we got it. And a few years later or so, Mike was friends with Dan. And then he introduced me to Dan, and we formed us three. And that's how that started. And Dan is the awesome writer. And you have to be good at writing when you're doing emails or follow-up or something like that. So between the three of us, we complemented each other, and we got many different businesses. We get in a business, and the problem was we get in a business, we think it's okay, you really don't know. We start to build a team. It seems to be going very, very well. And these ugly things rear their head. One is we started to meet people like us that didn't have the skills. So you're thinking, well, they could just do what we're doing. It's not that easy. Listen, numbers don't lie. If 98% of the people aren't making it online, it's just fact. And part of that reason is you have to know how to drive traffic. And it's not as easy as people say, oh, I'll just buy a solo ad. You can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a solo ad and get no one. Absolutely no one. And finally, we got to the point where we could build teams. We built teams of thousands. And then what happens? Well, then you're in a business that one day you log in and it's not there. Down for maintenance, one of the creepiest feelings you could feel because they never come back. And you might have spent, we always made a system for each business. We spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get to where we could brand that business to us and build a system that would work for us. And then, poof, one day it's gone. You're like, oh my God. So we didn't quit. We looked for something else. And then we find another business, seems to be okay. You start building it. Then you get people say, can you help me? You try to help them. You might be able to help 3 or 4. Some people we tried to help said, I'm not doing that. And I'm like, well, whatever. So they would quit. And, it was just, and then you look in people's eyes and you say, I'm going to help you. And you find you're lying to them. And I didn't like that. Mike didn't like it. Dan didn't like it. So 3.5 years ago, we were about to call it quits. We were in a business with a guy for a year. I found him about as loyal as you could. We found out he didn't have the magic ticket. We knew probably as much as he did. Looking back, hindsight's 2020. It was a waste, and we paid over $100 a month in that business, and it never launched. So we paid thousands of dollars to stay in a business that did not launch. That's why when I hear the 97, I laugh, okay? But anyway, long story short, I ran into Peter Rogers and Red Redford. I knew them from a business before. Mike and Dan knew them too. And it's the first time in years that I was actually looking, because most of the time, businesses came to us. And the reason they did, they knew we could build a team. So it wasn't easy to get offered business. They say, these 3 guys can build a team, go get them. But it never worked out for one reason or another, like I said. But I trusted Peter and Red, and I said, what are you doing? They told us about ONPASSIVE. And I asked simple questions, really. The bar is pretty low at this point. I said, can anybody do it? Yes. Do you have to buy stuff that nobody knows what it is? No. Is it physical? I mean, do you have to buy physical things? And no. Is there auto ship? Nope. Do people have to have special skills? Do they have to know how to drive traffic? No, they do it for you. Boom, I was in. Now, the only point I was worried about at that point is how much is it going to cost? And I was thinking a few thousand. I just did. I said, well, if this is 10% what they say it is, it's going to be a lot of money. But I'm going to find it. I got extra grandchildren I could sell, right? So I'm just kidding. But I went there and I said, how much? And they said 97. And I believe I went, how much? 97. I went, are you sure? So now I thought, maybe it's not that good. Isn't that funny? It was so low, I wasn't. By the way, I paid the 97. I went back to Dan and Mike, and I don't know what I told them. For 97, they signed up just so I'd shut up, right? And then we got together, and of course, I want to tell you something that we did in every business we were ever in. We made it a point to meet the guy that's running the ship. Always. There's no way we're going to do this without finding the man or the woman that is running this ship. So I had gone back, Mike and Dan can fill into stuff, but I went back to, and we met with Red and Peter and somebody else. They did a meeting. We said, okay. There wasn't a lot of information out there. They talk about these 2 tapes from Ash, I never heard him. I did not get in because of Ash. I didn't know who he was. But I did go back to him and we said we want to meet Ash. And there was a couple of smirks and laughs, yeah, good luck on that. And I said, well, I was worried about building a big team again with somebody we don't know. Because we knew we could bring people in, but I don't want to do this again. And this business sounds too good to be true. But we had to do it for $97. So went back to Mike and Dan and we talked and I said, well, if he's anything like we think he must be to do this, we make a big enough splash, he'll come to us. And how do you make a big splash? Start building a team as fast as you can. And we did. We had our own little bubble. And we said, what are we going to call it? And our name before it was Leverage Kings. That's always you hear me talk about leverage. And we came up with Unpassive Nation. We got the mechanics of the system. It's crazy, but we might get into it a little bit. But Mike and them can do that. But we built Unpassive Nation. About 2-3 months in, I'm not sure exactly, we got a phone call. I am Ashley Ford. I am your friend. You know that guy, right? So I said, hello. I want to meet with you and Dan. And me and Dan and Mike and Dan said, all right, we're going to meet with him and we're going to drill him for questions, right? We're going to run this conversation. That's what we said. That's what we thought. So we get into conversation, we're chatting away, and the next thing you know, the conversation is being twisted around, and we had no control. I mean, I saw it happening, but I was like, oh, well, and he's a pretty dynamic guy, and he's very he's smart. You guys know that. He's super smart. Next thing you know, he's evaluating us. And he said, I like your name. I like the name. Oh, thanks. And you guys are making an impact, and I like it. Is there anything I could do for you? And I think we said, well, you can come to a webinar. And he did. And he said a lot in that first webinar. It was kind of mind-blowing, really. And the rest is, you know what. But I'll turn it over to Mike for here so he can fill in whatever I know I'm missing something. So, Mike, you could go from here.
Yeah, Mike, come on down. And everybody keep your questions in mind so you can ask the three of them anything you want. Take notes. Come on down, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Lynn. I appreciate that. Thanks, Bob and Oliver for inviting us on and letting us have our reins and be able to say whatever we want to say. I love the banner, Unpassive and Winners. Just a terrific banner, terrific subject. Marty has kind of told about our journey. And, you know, when I think about Marty, Dan, and I think about Marty, Dan, and I getting together, was it an accident? I don't think so. I don't think there are accidents. And Marty, Dan, and I, we really have been blessed. And when Marty, Dan, and I got together, we had no clue where this journey would take us. I mean, who in their right mind stays together for 8 years and makes very little or nothing? That's Marty, Mike, and Dan. First 8 years, I don't know how we stayed together. I don't think this was an accident. Things happen for a reason. And as Marty, Dan, and I got together, we learned a lot about online marketing, what you do online, how you do it. And we got pretty good at it. And over the course of 2, 3, 4 years, yeah, Marty's right. We were able to build really, really big teams, but there was always something missing. And Marty and Dan, they're as honest as the day is long. When we tell someone something, we want it to be true. And what happened with what we were doing, yeah, we could come on, we could make a little bit of money, we could be successful. But the people, as Marty said, that were coming along with us, they just couldn't do it. Really, who in their right mind spends 8 years learning how to do something? Unless it's a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, who does that? Nobody does that. So, you know, when we got to the point, as Marty said, you know, we were really, really frustrated. We didn't want to continue to do what we were doing. And then out of the blue, and it really was out of the blue, ONPASSIVE comes at us. Was that an accident? I don't think so. And as we started to learn about ONPASSIVE and what Mr. Mufareh was doing, we got really, really excited because this is what we were trying to do for 8-9 years. I mean, it's what we were trying to do, but we just couldn't find any vehicle that would let us do what we were trying to do. And then, as Marty said, we got to talk to Ash Mufareh. Was that an accident? I don't think so. Like I said, I don't believe in accidents. This whole journey, when we look back on it, it truly is amazing where we were and where we are today. And when we think about ONPASSIVE and where ONPASSIVE is, and I think everybody here should appreciate this, ONPASSIVE today is 100 times better than we got in 3.5 years ago. And it was really, really good 3.5 years ago. When Marty, Dan, and I heard ONPASSIVE, talked to Ash Mufareh, got his smaller vision initially, we were going, man, we just hit gold. We're right where we want to be. We want to work with this individual because he's got a vision and he articulated it a lot better than we could. But when he articulated, I mean, Marty and Dan and I were, oh, yeah, that's exactly what we were thinking. But today, Ash Mufareh and ONPASSIVE is so much better than when we came in. Marty, Dan, and I, we really don't talk about the numbers anymore. We don't even worry about it. It's not even an afterthought. We know what's coming. And when you look at ONPASSIVE, one of the things that we enjoy more than anything else is watching people come to the top, spread their wings, get their voice, be able to talk to people, and really start feeling who they are. And I know in ONPASSIVE, on the peripheries of ONPASSIVE, there are people out there, and they look at Lynn, and they look at Bob, and they look at the people on this webinar, and they go, I can't do that. I don't have the talents to do that. I'll never be able to do that. And Marty, Dan, and I, we know otherwise. We've seen people that didn't think they could do anything come on, and they're making a massive impact in ONPASSIVE. Is that an accident? I don't think so. ONPASSIVE is here not only for the financial gains that we're all going to get, but it's here to change lives. And I know those individuals on the periphery, those individuals that don't think they can do anything, we will find you. We will get you. We will bring you out and lift you up a little bit until you can fly. There is so much talent in ONPASSIVE from really, I mean, we have so many people on this webinar that are so talented. And as ONPASSIVE does the product launch to the global market and ONPASSIVE starts to grow, there are going to be so many areas that are going to be needed from all of us. And that's why we need more and more and more leaders. When Marty, Dan, and I started, I can tell you, I had never done a video. I had never talked to an audience. I had never done anything except one-on-one with a few individuals. I didn't think I could do half the things that we're doing right now. And the individuals that are still on that periphery start coming in. Really, all you have to do is open the door. There are so many people here, tons and tons of love. They're going to embrace you. And eventually, you're going to find your talent. And ONPASSIVE, I think this is one of the main impetuses of Ash Mufareh, to really bring people to the forefront. It's why he does what he does. When he says he wants to take care of everybody, he means that. He wants to take care of everybody. And everybody here, regardless of when you came in or where you're at, you have a talent that you can use within ONPASSIVE. And as we look at the journey with ONPASSIVE Nation and ONPASSIVE and Ash Mufareh, believe me, Marty and Dan and I, we've learned a lot of things. And Mr. Mufareh is still teaching us. And sometimes it's a little annoying to think, well, why didn't I think of that? Well, I'm not Ash Mufareh. It really is a blessing. It's been a great journey. ONPASSIVE, it's here for everybody. all you have to do, open the door, walk through it. It's better today than it was 3.5 years ago. And in another 2, 3, 4 months, watch out. You can't believe what's coming. I can barely contain myself. That's why I like to listen to Marty and Dan. The excitement is there. Yeah, I never get tired of it. Lynn, I'll turn it back over to you and then to Dan, and we'll let Dan wow you.
All righty. Well, you wowed us already. And it's very encouraging words to say that everybody's going to do well in Unpassive. You don't have to be like anybody else. Just be yourself. Everybody has a talent and a gift. Thank you for those encouraging words. Let's now go on to Dan Street. Come on down, Dan.
Yeah, I'm going to wow everybody here tonight. Well, Marty and Mike said everything, so let's just go ahead and take questions. I'm kidding.
No.
When I sit back and I reflect on just all the series of events that took place 3.5 years ago that brought us and brought Unpassive into our lives, I just know it was a gift from God. I mean, the timing was unbelievable. And Ash even talks about that. He talks about 40% in a recent webinar. He talked about 40% of the success of any business is a direct result of the timing. So based on our experience, I couldn't agree more with that. And I couldn't agree more with Marty and Mike as to all of the other things that they were talking about. You know, prior to Unpassive, as they both discussed, we developed a template for building an online business. And we got involved with companies that failed. And you know, like Marty said, you know, you wake up and you log in and they aren't there. Or we quit because for one reason, we couldn't bring people with us. And the business plan that they had was not solid enough for us to reach our goals. So, you know, I believe that the keys to the success that we've had and the keys to the success of the people here and in Unpassive is, well, I'll just start with the keys to our success, that I believe what our success was with Unpassive Nation when we decided to name it that. We believed, we had some failures, but we believed in the concept of online marketing, and that there is a company and a system out there somewhere solid enough and has the potential so we can develop and achieve success. But not only that, but we can help others and change their lives as well. So, you know, that's a big dream. That's a big dream. And, you know, is there a company out there that is like that? And we believed, number two, I think we believed in our friendship and our roles. Now, keep in mind, we went through a lot of trial and error before we determined what the path that we were going to take. You know, Mike doing videos, me writing, Marty doing the marketing, putting all these complex marketing things together that would help us drive people to our site in order to sign them up. I mean, it was like Marty says all the time in his webinars. It's not something you can teach. It's something that he had to learn over 15 years. And it was trial and error and a lot of heartache and a lot of work. So once he developed that set of skills, and then Mike developed his set of skills, and I had my set of skills, and we were blessed enough to bring that together at the same time that Unpassive is getting ready to start their digital marketing program. That's all it was back when we started out. It was a digital marketing program that morphed into this unbelievable company that we're seeing today. So again, our timing couldn't have been better. You know, I think there were 17,000 founders when we got in. So being a part of this amazing journey is really more than we could have imagined. And realizing that we have been a part, and that's not for just us, but that's for everybody here, realizing that we've been a part of helping Unpassive launch to the world. It's a very, very rewarding experience. And guess what? We still only know 10% of the magnitude of this company. And we're all sitting here as believers, and we're so excited, and there's webinars every day. We can't stand it. You know, the other thing is the friendships that we've made all over the world. I sit and I think about this all the time. Yeah, it's incredible to think that we can travel anywhere in the world and not only know somebody, but we will have a close friend in almost every country around the world. And that close friend is someone that we've been on a journey with to help build a company like ONPASSIVE. And like Mike said, I think what's had an impact on me is seeing the talent of all of these amazing founders that we've had the privilege of getting to know and watching them grow and turn into leaders. It's been a joy to watch because there's so much talent and there's so many people out there that know a lot more than I do, that's for sure. And I can learn from so many people. So we're in some very exciting times. And as Mike said, we're just moments away or months away from ONPASSIVE being a reality and launch into the world and us realizing our dreams and being able to bless others. So thank you, Bob and Lynn and everybody here. This has been a lot of fun, and thanks for including us in this. We've had a journey, but everybody here has had a journey as well, and the journey is just getting started. So thanks again.
Thank you so much, Dan. At this time, we would like to open it up for comments and questions from our participants. This is your chance. When do you have a time to ask all three of them anything you want about ONPASSIVE Nation? So don't miss it. Jane Helms, you're the first. Go ahead and ask your question. Let me unmute you. Go ahead.
There, the unmute button wasn't working.
No, I have to ask to unmute, and then you can unmute. You're doing well.
Pushing the button, it wasn't working or something. I don't know. Whatever.
All righty, go ahead.
Oh, thank you guys, Mike and Marty and Dan. We appreciate you so very much. And I even sent a text to Dan earlier, and he answers right back. And it's just so wonderful. It's like, oh my goodness, what a wonderful family we all are involved in. Isn't that great? So, I do have a question, okay, because this is some of the people in my downline. We have been talking, and it's kind of like these questions come up, and sometimes I can answer and sometimes I can't. This is when I definitely can't. So people who already have businesses and already have, websites set up and, going, ready to launch their website. And then there are those people who have no websites and no business and just want to be resellers, I guess. So now the company is going to be building websites for us. Is that right? If we are going to just be resellers, and is that right? Or do we need to kind of get in our creative juices also? Does that make sense? Sorry.
Yeah. Let me try to answer that, and Mike and Dan can fill in. They're making websites every week right now that you'll be able to use. If you want to create your own website, maybe put a video that you made, which I know that myself, Mike, and Dan will do, to brand yourself, you can do that. And then here's what's up. The company's going to drive traffic for you. You can take a percentage of that traffic and drive it to another website. Maybe one you did, maybe another company you're doing, whatever. You have that control. Or you can even buy extra traffic and drive it to a website that you made on OCreate. And OCreate will have hundreds of templates, anything you can. It's all drag and drop. It's not, you don't have to do any coding. Super, super simple. I don't know if all of you whoever saw the back office. It's amazing. The dashboard will blow you away. But anything you want to do, it's very, whatever you want. Jane, if you want to be a reseller and just let the company work for you, you can do it. If you want to be a reseller and share too, you can do it. If you want to be a reseller and add traffic, you can do it. If you want to be a reseller and be involved in another company, maybe an affiliate company or something that's legit, and it's good for the company, the company agrees, you can add traffic to that and sell it. There's no limits in ONPASSIVE. Absolutely none.
What a great answer. Just what we all wanted to hear, right?
Yeah, let me add a couple of things for you, Jane. Marty's absolutely right. There's nothing you can't do within ONPASSIVE. You know, when you're thinking about the ONPASSIVE resellers and then other businesses coming on, and then ONPASSIVE driving traffic for that particular business. And Marty has said this in the past. I think Dan might have too. ONPASSIVE, let's not even think about us, founding members of ONPASSIVE, those individuals participating with ONPASSIVE. Let's talk about those businesses that are going to come on and have ONPASSIVE drive traffic for them. They've got a good product people like, but they've never been able to get any traction. I believe that ONPASSIVE will create more millionaires outside of ONPASSIVE with other businesses than the history of the world. People are going to come to ONPASSIVE by accident, get their quality traffic driven to their business that people, whatever the product is, product, service, that people love it, just they never see it. Because ONPASSIVE is going to be driving the traffic, these individuals are going to wake up and be making $100, $500 million a year by accident. That's how powerful ONPASSIVE is. Now we talk about the founding members, and Marty talked about that just a little bit. What's going to happen is just going to blow your mind. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to get into it. Yes. It is so much more. It is so much more powerful than what I just talked about. Other businesses. What the other businesses that are going to wake up and do very, very well, multiply that by 1,000. That's ONPASSIVE. So hopefully you don't sleep tonight.
And on top of that, Jane, absolutely no one can enter ONPASSIVE unless they come through a founder. That's very important to know. No one can walk into ONPASSIVE world without coming through a founder. Just think about how powerful that is. There'll be companies in your organization, companies, thousands could be. Look, they got to come through. Other companies didn't do that. If you have the money, you can buy your way in. Not going to work with Ashby Farah. He doesn't care about the money. You know, you want to come in, okay? You got to get in under Lynn or whatever site's ready, whatever's in that rotator. That's where they're coming. It's beautiful. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I'll add one more thing to that, Jane. Let's say you do have a company, but you're not real excited about it. Maybe it's some products that you like, and you have the business, and you're affiliate with that company, and you say, "Hey, I'd like to throw it into ONPASSIVE." I think there's a real strong chance that a lot of people that are doing that are going to forget about that business and make ONPASSIVE their primary business and buy more traffic and drive traffic to their primary business, which is ONPASSIVE, that has so much more than anything that they could ever dream of. So that's what I see happening a lot. Now, keep in mind, there are a lot of people that have legit businesses that they have a passion for, and they will be very successful promoting that business. But there's a lot of people that will do what I just said.
Yeah. That is so good to know, because I mean, there's so many people out there, like you said, who want to start some. I mean, like I'm thinking people who are HVAC guys. I mean, they're super busy this time of year, right, with this heat wave, right? I mean, car dealerships, plumbers, etc. And even people beyond that, like real estate agents who need people to come to, for them to do their business, insurance people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I'm just thinking, it's like, oh my gosh, this is just going to be so great for so many people, and so anyway, you guys just have answered. It's like, this is out of the ballpark. I mean, it's just so exciting. It's out of the ballpark. But thank you for letting me ask a question. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jane. That was a good question and a lot of answers for you tonight. So that was great. Appreciate you. And I love your laugh. It makes me want to laugh. That's special about you. I love your laugh. Thank you, Jane.
I love you all.
Love you to pieces. All right, now we go on to Bob Takusi.
Yes, mine is just a statement of gratitude and maybe a slight question. I just want to express our real heartfelt gratitude to the dynamic trio, as I call, Mr. Dan, Mike, and Marty. You know, I think it is fair for us to say most of us are here in ONPASSIVE because of you guys. You know, we always say that oftentimes we refer to those who came in 2018 and lit the candle, and then it kept getting brighter and brighter. But it is, I believe, a factual statement to say it was the 2019 guys, the ONPASSIVE nation, that powered the entire ONPASSIVE. I think that's a fair statement to make, and it is thanks to the three of you. I cannot overstate this to Mr. Mike Ellis, who's graced us to be here tonight. Everybody around the world knows who Mike Ellis is from his videos. Even my own wife here, everything she knows about ONPASSIVE is from Mike Ellis. So I just want to really, on behalf of the OWinners and the entire ONPASSIVE family, thank the three of you. And then end by saying that, I don't know, it's just a question. How do you feel? I mean, we are at the verge. It seems the way things are, we can sense. We can sense it. We see Mr. Ash. We watch you guys, Marty, Michael, William, all the top guys. We can feel from your body, you know, how you feel, their reaction. We think that there's something is around the corner. So now, how do you guys feel? What is in your heart? How do you feel getting to this point after being online for this while, not bringing along the people that you've hoped to bring, and then we're at the verge of actually achieving that? Not only that, but also your own self, be enriching yourself. How do you feel, Mike?
Yeah, I'll start this one off. Thanks, Bob. Those are really, really kind words. When you say stuff like that, I can tell you flat out that Dan and Marty, we're looking around and going, who are they talking about?
I know, right?
We don't look at ourselves that way. You know, what's happened with ONPASSIVE, and Marty and Dan will tell you this too. As we did business online, our hope was to always get something that could go viral. And we've had moments with both what Dan does and what Marty does where we did go viral, but never the way we wanted to go viral. And it didn't happen that way in ONPASSIVE either. You know, when you talk about people knowing Dan and Marty and I, we didn't know that for the first year and a half. Again, I don't think this is an accident. I think we've been totally blessed. Our stuff went viral. We didn't even know it. Okay. And I think that's the best way to do it, just to be blessed and let God do what he wants to do, because it always turns out better. And when we start to think about ONPASSIVE and where we are now, those blessings haven't stopped. We have a pretty good insight as to what's coming, both Dan and Marty and I, because we talk. It's the way our minds work. We don't focus on the mundane. We focus on where can we go? Where can ONPASSIVE go? Where's Ash Mufareh going? And where we are today and where we're going to be in 60 days, there's no comparison. And everybody here gets to take that journey with us. And that's one of the really, really enjoyable things about ONPASSIVE. As Dan said, we're all taking this journey together. And nobody here is more important than the next person beside you or any of the other people that are participating with ONPASSIVE. So it's been a really, really exciting journey. Where we're going from here is just going to blow your mind. It's going to blow my mind. I wake up every day. I'm in a pretty good mood. You want to know how it's affecting me, Bob? I come on and I look at you, I look at Collins, I look at the people that are here. I wake up in a really, really good mood. And when that happens, when you can do that, all of a sudden the day gets pretty good because your thoughts are very, very positive. You're thinking about different things. And it's not all about the apples, the money that's going to be coming in. That's one of the things that's ancillary. It's all the other things that are going on within ONPASSIVE, within our group, within everybody here. Dan put it right. We have so many friends right now. There's not a place in the world I can't go, and I know I'm going to be taken care of. And I'm kind of a chicken when I go out of the state. I like to be taken care of. I like to know where I'm going and what I'm doing. And there's not a place in the world I can go where someone won't take me and take care of me. That's a really, really rare thing. Again, it's not something we thought would happen, but it has. It's always better. No accidents. So I don't know if that answers your question, Bob. I get on a ramble. Marty, Dan, come on in and maybe you can be a little more clear.
Well, no, I forget the question. No, but I think with me and all of the companies that we got involved with, and just the failures and the frustrations of not being able to, working hard and not being able to achieve any kind of success, no momentum. All the momentum gets stopped with a lot of these companies. And what I realized with ONPASSIVE as the journey kept going is that I'd never heard of a company that's going to drive targeted traffic to my site and recruit customers for me and build my business for me with AI technology, all automated, done for you. Okay, when I heard that, I mean, that's along the path. That just solidified the belief I already had in Ash Mufarah's vision, and it kept my belief strong, and it kept me motivated to keep going and stay positive and talk to people in a positive way. I just think there's nothing negative about what we've got going on right now, and we have to really concentrate on that and concentrate on the journey that we have in front of us, and the exciting thing it's right around the corner. And so I'm just blown away. And I think that certain aspects of ONPASSIVE that have been revealed to us along the way have had a real big impact on me.
Yeah. Oh, Bob, thanks for what you said, man. That means a lot. You know, in the beginning, I think what kept us together and how we wound up here was faith. We always believed it could be better. There's got to be something there. It's got to happen. And was it wishful thinking? I thought it was. When we were just ready to say, I don't know if there's anything online, that's when ONPASSIVE showed up. What would have happened if we didn't go that extra day? You know, that one more day. And a lot of it was faith in believing it's got to be something better. And the funny thing is, you know, like I said, I started in 2004. Looking back, knowing what I know now, because hindsight's 2020, I was looking for ONPASSIVE 18 years ago. And here it is. Now, it wasn't there then, but all these things fell into place. Mr. Mufarah, I mean, think about the whole thing. It can't be an accident, okay? What's the chance of someone like Ash Mufarah coming into our life, doing what he did, then us running into it? I mean, it's just, it's kind of funny, really. I feel blessed to be here. Since I'll tell you the truth, when we were asked to come on the Leadership Council, it's been 2 years ago, we haven't marketed for ONPASSIVE Nation at all. Zero. We stopped it. We did well. We built a good team, but it was into then we got to meet people. I spent the last 3 years, we all did, looking for diamonds in the rough and pushing people up. Because the power of the company is the people, not just the products. In fact, the power of the company is mainly the people. And if you were to ask Ash right now, he would tell you the same thing. The movement on ONPASSIVE is the most unique part of it. Yes, the AI is going to be number one. Yes, the technology is going to be number one. But where else can you get 1 million people like this anywhere in the world? I've never seen a gathering of people that are like-minded like this ever in my life, ever. And we fell into a system that was developed for us, and we feel comfortable here. You know, somebody told me one time, what if the wrong person gets in? I said, the wrong person won't feel comfortable being with us. Negative doesn't fit in with positive. It just doesn't. They're out of place. They ask for refunds. They don't feel right. Something's not right here. And I say, give me your email. And I try as hard as I can to get them out, because if they're not happy, we don't want them here. But no, I think, when we were pushing, it was like our head was down and we were plowing forward. We didn't know the impact at first until we did go to other groups and other meetings. And you hear people saying, I got your video. I saw Mike's video. I'm like, whoa. It was kind of like, who the heck are they talking about? But we built our own little bubble. That's why. That's the only reason. It was like a protection of, we were taking care of what we had, blah, 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 blah. But when we expanded, it's the best thing that could have happened. I'm so glad I did what I did. I'm glad I got to meet everybody. There's days that can be pretty crazy, but it all wipes away when you get in a meeting like this and meet people that you really care for. So I'm really happy where I am. I'm happy 8-9 years ago that I met Mike Ellis. I don't even remember where, crazy webinar somewhere, but it turned out. And yeah, and like Mike said, it wasn't an accident. But yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Bob? Are you good? All right.
More than
Thank
satisfied.
It was an awesome answer from three
Yeah.
of them. I loved it. Thank you. All right, we go on to Raphael St Germain from the Bahamas. Take the floor.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. What's up, all? Raphael here. I'm a proud founder. I'm not a founder that think that I'm entitled to anything. I'm just a privileged founder, privileged to be in ONPASSIVE. I think that deep down within me that the ONPASSIVE Nation is one of the key cornerstones of ONPASSIVE. You're one of those structures that is holding this building up. Saying that, I know that you guys have been around for a while. You know how to drive traffic. You know how to build teams. My question is simple. Is ONPASSIVE Nation going to develop a video that other founders can use to bring in customers and resellers, or is it all going to be corporate? That's my question.
I'll start it off. Raphael, number one, you're an absolute superstar. I've been watching you for months and months and months now. You're very good at what you do. Just keep doing it. Will ONPASSIVE Nation develop content for other founders? Already have. Marty, Dan, and I, we've been working with a view of 6 months down the road, and we've been doing that for the last 3 months. So we're already starting to develop content, some of which we'll share with founders. And it's just a simple way to augment what ONPASSIVE is going to be doing for you. Now, most people, they probably won't use any of it, and you don't need to. ONPASSIVE, again, they're going to do all the work for us. That's why most people are here. But those individuals that want to do it a little bit more, that want to augment the business, that want to get to that financial place a little quicker than when ONPASSIVE is going to get them there. Yeah, we're going to have stuff for everybody. I'm not sure it'll get you there any quicker than what Ash Mufareh and his team is going to do. Like I said, there are so many things coming down the road that you don't know yet. And Ash Mufareh, he is an absolute genius at what he's doing right now, which is the marketing side of ONPASSIVE. And when you look at what Ash is doing for every founding member here, not only with his marketing, but the products and the other stuff that's coming. Yeah, you can use some of the content that we'll put out there. I think it'll help augment what Ash is going to be doing. I don't think it's necessary, but yeah, we've already started that. to answer your question. Go ahead, Dan, Marty. All right, I'll keep filling in. Dan's been writing content. I've been doing videos. Marty's been working on the marketing side of it, on the traffic side. Let me give you an example of what we're going to do as ONPASSIVE comes out. As ONPASSIVE comes out, we now have the ability to make a station, each one of us, to make our own station. This is our property. This is where people can come and listen to what we have to say and to look at our content. This is going to be so powerful. You know, you think about Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all the social media platforms that are out there. I hate all of them.
Okay, nice. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was.
That's okay. You're a joy to come on anytime, Lynn. We love to listen to you. But we're each going to be able to make our own little piece of property online, but it's better than that. You know, once you get the hang of this and you've got a good channel out there, something that people want to look at and see, what do? There's ONPASSIVE. We drive traffic to it. You know, Marty has done a great job on his YouTube channel over the last 3 months. He's gone from just about nothing to, I don't know, 25,000 people on his YouTube channel, which is terrific. Now think about doing your own channel within ONPASSIVE, building that site, having that piece of property, and then driving traffic through it. What kind of viewership could you get with a good quality channel? 50, 100, 200,000, a million people? Yeah, you can do that. And each and every one of you can do this. It's not, with ONPASSIVE, it's going to be a piece of cake to set up your channel and then drive traffic to it with good content that you're giving them. There's so many things we can do with ONPASSIVE. I know Dan and Marty have thought about it extensively. And when you know, we talked about other businesses, we talked about realtors, plumbers, blah, 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 all these individuals. ONPASSIVE is the answer. And that's why each and every one of us are holding the golden key or the golden ticket or whatever gold you want to talk about. There are so many things we can do. And will we be sharing things with people, Raphael? Yeah, we will. Absolutely. And the Bahama group, which you are a part of, you guys are going to blow it out of the water. I can guarantee that. You're just absolutely going to blow it out of the water, along with many, many other founding members, people that are participating with ONPASSIVE. Marty, Dan, you want to jump in and give me a break? Hopefully that answered your question, Raphael.
Go ahead, Dan.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah.
No, I think Mike answered the question, perfectly. But I think that, I say we just all wait and see what we don't even know. Well, let's wait and see what how ONPASSIVE is going to. Let's look at the products. I'm so excited to learn about each and every one of the products, and each and every one of us will be able to brand ourselves. You know, each and every one of you will be able to, and you're already doing it. I see it all over the place. Everybody wants to brand themselves, and you can either let ONPASSIVE drive the traffic to your site and not do anything, or you can speed up the process and maybe put a few things out there with the help of what ONPASSIVE is offering us. And I just have a look-see right now. Sure, we're continuing to do stuff and promote, but we're just kind of brainstorming right now too. So let's all brainstorm.
Thank you so much. We'll go on to our next question or comment, and that comes from Dr. Bill Williams.
Thank you, Lynn. Good to see you guys, all the trio. I have a new term for you guys. I hope you like it. Talking about the value of a team, you guys, Marty, Dan, and Mike, I think maybe the plug and play trio. You already had a system and you plugged it in to what ONPASSIVE was doing and made it doubly good. So by addition, you really showed the value of a team. 3 people is always smarter than 1 person. I can attest to that. I never made as much progress when I was by myself, and I always worked better with a team. And it's obvious that you guys have risen to the top because of the teamwork that you had and the friendship that you generated. I think Ash is an architect who puts pieces together in a puzzle when he recognizes good things. And I think he recognizes those quite quickly. And I'm thinking about the foundation that was there before you got into ONPASSIVE. It was 17,000, did you say? That's a solid ground. That's like the concrete is laid, but it's only a flat piece of concrete on the ground when you got a foundation. And what you guys on ONPASSIVE Nation did, you were the iron workers who braved the heights and built this big frame that we could hang a bunch of other people on. And so you scaled up higher, and in doing so, I think Ash started seeing bigger things as we got more people in. And he started hiring stonemasons and bringing in HVAC and electrical and plumbing guys from all corners of the world. And they plugged in and they kept building this skyscraper. And finally, he's getting close to the finish, and he's got the interior designers coming in now to put a pizzazz on it. I mean, this is a team effort, and you guys were really important to build a framework around that he could hang things on. So that's my thinking. You guys are the plug and play trio, and we all are benefited from it. And I certainly benefited from learning from your videos how to talk on Passive Ian. I have one question that I would like to ask you three. What are your goals for Global 1000, being that you have already reached that level of qualification?
Any one of you can take that.
What's the goal? To watch people succeed. I really don't have any personal. Well, there's things I want to do for my wife, and I really want to have a church built because we have church in our basement. But other than that, I think the best part of the journey will be seeing people become successful. I really think that'll be pretty cool for me. And to know that that crazy thing I did back in 2004 actually worked out. It actually made it. So that would be, and I already believe that. I mean, that's why when there's a little glitch here or some little thing here, I promise to God, it doesn't bother me at all. We've won already. I mean, I've got a lot more from this company than I put in. I can tell you that. And when you enjoy what you're doing, it's not a job. People thank me and stuff like that. It seems kind of creepy to me. I mean, you could thank me if I take your trash out, but if I'm doing this, it's because I want to. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy seeing people from a screen off, just a name, screen on, start to talk, maybe do a live, and then you find out, wow, this person's got so much to offer. That treasure for me is what I look forward to. And I think that's only going to happen over and over and over and over and over for the next 2 or 3 years. So, and I want to meet everybody in person. That's what I really want, Dr. Bill. And thanks for everything you said, by the way.
Let's go now.
Dan and Mike?
Well, thanks, Bill. That's very kind. And as far as any global qualifications and everything, I haven't really seen anything in writing or what the details are on what that entails. And so I'm gonna reserve my excitement on anything like that until Ash actually lays out something for us. But as far as my goals for ONPASSIVE, it's ongoing, and I want to bless others. Sure, we want to bless our family, but I think blessing others and just learning the products and just watching the journey and watching all of these people just rise to the top. And I'm excited and looking at Bless and looking at all of the. I'm one of these guys that I will vet anything, any opportunity or any donation that comes in there. But I just have a real desire to go out and just give and give and give to people and just one day at a time enjoy this process. I think that's the only thing I can say, you know.
That's beautiful. Mike?
Thanks, Dr. Bill. You're very, very kind words. As you can see, Marty, Dan, and I, we're different. We're different people. And that's a good thing because it brings more to the table. Marty has stuff I don't think about. Dan has stuff I don't think about. And Marty and Dan keep me in check. When I start to think about what you're talking about, I overdo it. I go way, way further than I should. And these guys keep me in check. You know, when you're talking about Unpassive and what we did for Unpassive, we didn't do anything for Unpassive. When we got the vision of Ash Mufareh, what we did became very, very simple. What we did was not hard. It was easy because all three of us had a passion, the same way Ash had a passion to do something extraordinary, to do something that's never been done before, to do something the world's never seen before. And that's Ash Mufareh. That's not Marty, Mike, or Dan. Because he gave us the concepts, because he was talking our language, it became very, very simple. It's like Marty said, when we go to work, it's not work. We really enjoy doing what we're doing, as most of you all do. And as each and every one of you, if you haven't found your voice yet, you will. You'll find your voice. And here's what's really, really cool where we're going. As we do the product launch to the global market, all of a sudden you become the testimonial. And your voice, it gets very, very easy to talk to people because you've lived it. You're there. It's working for you. And I can tell you, each and every one of us, we love to share good news. I mean, we love to share good news. And each and every one of you are going to have really, really good news. And you're going to be just like Marty, Dan, and I. You're going to see the vision. You've got the testimonial. You're going to have your voice. You're going to talk to people. Unpassive, because of the army that Mr. Mufareh has developed, 1.5 million people. The power that's in that is going to be extraordinary. It's going to be really, really fun to watch when each and every one of us have our own testimonial and can go out and talk to our aunt, our uncle, our nieces, our nephews, people we work with. When you can do that, all of a sudden, and this is where the viral effect comes in. This is where Unpassive's growth comes in. All of a sudden, Unpassive, it is a household name. Everybody's going to know it. And guess what? You're part of that initial founding group. As Marty said, benefits from everything that comes in from the AI IT products of Unpassive comes right through us. What better place could you be? I mean, really, what better place could we be? So thanks, Dr. Bill. Appreciate what you had to say.
Well, thank you guys for the report back, and we're all in debt to your excellence. So we're all applauding what you've done and look forward to seeing what you do in the future.
Yes, we certainly do appreciate their contribution. Thank you, Dr. Bill. All right, I see we have Bridget, Eric, and Listra with their hands up, and Patricia Parent. She just raised her hand. So those four will be our four final commenters, all right? Because we have a couple of people that we have lined up to speak right after the four of them. And so we'll go ahead and end with Patricia Parent, all right? So we'll take it to Bridget in COMC now. Hi, Bridget.
Oh. Hello. Thank you, Lynn, for giving me that opportunity to speak. I'm going to start by making a statement that I keep hearing all the time when I listen to webinars. Marty, Dan, and I. That's the famous statement from Mike, and Mike, I will tell you that has had an impact on me. So anyway, initially I was very fascinated with Dan, because Dan, I've spent half of my career working in medical device. So I was very fascinated by you when I heard you speak. So I thought, whoa, I have somebody that I have something in common with. But in any way, that's not why we're here today. So ONPASSIVE is a gift from God. It is not an accident. ONPASSIVE is a beacon of hope for humanity. So I know that the three of you, I look up to you. I've always reckoned with you. I believe that Marty, Dan, and Mike are the people that I look up to. So I have a question for you today. During your 8 years together, from what I understand, you guys have been together for so long. Did you ever have issues with loyalty? And if you did, how did you resolve it? And if you never had issues with loyalty, what advice would you give to us in ONPASSIVE? Because that's very crucial and very important.
Well, I'll start out.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's kind of, I'm going to start out. Gosh, Bridget, that is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, you know, to go, for example, Mike and I have known each other we grew up in Colorado together, went to the same high school together. We've known each other for 50 years or whatever, who knows? But we've been good friends, and we've developed a friendship over a long period of time and had a lot of great times together. So there's never, ever been a question about our friendship and our loyalty to one another. Now, when you get into a business, and you're trying to find your way, and when we got with Marty, and the three of us are trying to, you know, develop that path, develop that template of what works best for us to promote a business, specifically and most importantly ONPASSIVE, there has never been a problem with any of us. I mean, as far as the loyalty we have for one another, the friendship we had, we always knew we could make it work. Now, were there stresses and strains and differences of opinions and how we should move forward? Absolutely. And that's how you grow. And we were very, very fortunate that we found each other, and we each had our own set of skills. Because if two of us would have had the same skill and would have been competing with one another, you know, it wouldn't have worked as well. You know, if I was a video guy and I always wanted to do more videos than Mike, and we were going back and forth on that, it just wouldn't have worked as well. So the synergy of our relationship has always been very, very strong. And that's what made it work. I hope that helps.
It did. Thank you.
Anybody else is going to chime in on that?
Yeah, I'll go very quickly, and then Marty can come on in. We've never had a problem with loyalty. Marty, Dan, and I, we would literally die for one another. Loyalty is not a problem. But to your question, did we butt heads? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Dan and I, there were times when the arguments were knocked down, drag out. Marty and I, have we butted heads? Absolutely. Because you have three strong personalities here, and I might think something's right, Marty might think something's right, and we'll butt heads. But here's the deal. Here's what will help you. If you're with someone that you can trust, that you have loyalty to, you're going to have disagreements. If you have those disagreements, here's the rule. You got 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes, get over it. And then start to think about what the other person has said. And most of the time, when I think about what Dan said, what Marty said, they're right. But I can be pretty bullheaded. but 20 minutes, that's what you got. Then you think about what they said. And for me, most of the time, what they've said, I just go, yep, I was wrong. And don't be afraid to admit that, because I'm wrong a lot. I really am. And if you'll do that, the people that you work with, the people that you care about, the people that you really have trust in, that trust will grow stronger and stronger and stronger. And you'll develop a really, really good team that can go forward and really do some amazing things. What Marty, Dan, and I have done, any of you here can do it. It's not hard. It's just that most people aren't willing to put the time in, not only personally, with each other, but the time in to learn what you need to learn and then do it. But everybody here has the skill to do that. You really do. But yeah, 20 minutes, it's over. Okay.
Yeah, let me add. Trust, no, never a problem. And people ask, have you guys ever met? Nope, not once. You believe that? 8 years we've never met each other, except Mike and Dan. They see each other a lot, but I've never met them. Never a problem with trust. Never. In fact, Mike trusted me pretty right from the beginning. I'm not even sure why. I'm glad, but I'm just a trusting guy. And then if you do something the way I don't, it's pretty hard to get back in my favor, because I'm open to everybody, really. But I couldn't have met two better guys, no doubt about it. But there's times, remember, we were building a business that we didn't know all the details. So we would go to a webinar with Mr. Mafara, and then the next day we had an Ask deciphering meeting between me, Mike, and Dan, and then Mike would make a video. Now remember, we don't know, nothing's 2020 and ONPASSIVE, especially back then. So we had to be careful what that road we walked, and we walked the edge many, many times. Now, did Mike send a video, check this out, and I look at it and go, oh my God? Yes, no doubt about it. And I would call him, and I want to tell you, this is the funny part of a relationship, right? Mike could, Marty, look at this video and let me know. Now, I know he spent a lot of time on it. If a video is 17 minutes, trust me, there's a couple days spent on it. It's not like people think, right? And then to keep it under 15 minutes is like, it's harder than keeping it an hour. So he sent me a video and I watched it. And there's one part that I think we have gone over the edge. Because when Mike does a video, he's doing it for all three of us. Then I'm thinking, how do I go back to Mike? And I'll cut that section out. But you have to say the right things to Mike, because he reacts very quick, right? This is funny. So I go, did you like the video? And I go, oh boy, I don't like this one spot. I can cut it out, because I can splice and you won't know it was cut out, right? But with Mike, it's either great or he's not doing it. So I went back to him and I'd go, Mike, listen to me. Now, as soon as I said, listen to me, he knows what's already coming. But I can't get to it quick enough, right? So I go, listen to me. No, don't do anything. Don't do anything with the video. I think we need to cut out the one spot. What spot? And I said, all of a sudden, okay, it's gone. Mike, I don't want you to delete it. I can cut out that. No, it's gone. I'll do it again. See you later. Click, right? Now, wait. The next day, he comes out with the best video I ever saw. And that happened, I'm not kidding, that happened a lot. Not a lot, but there was a few times. And Mike always walked on the edge. What's come to find out, here's the thing. We would do a video on what we believed from what we heard, and we're putting this puzzle together, and we got really good at it. In fact, people thought, you guys have the inside scoop. And we didn't. We didn't. But we were reading Ash pretty well. I got to know Ash, what he talks, what he's saying. He's got like a 1,000-piece puzzle. We look at the puzzle, and there's pieces missing. We go, well, that's a farm, that's a barn, that's a chicken. That's got to be a cow, right? I mean, that's how you build a video. Then Mike would do it, and that's what we did. But loyalty, never. Trust, never. Dan handed me his credit card 2 or 3, 4 or 5 months after I met him. because he was also not the writer. He was the banker because I was broke. But when I did advertising or went somewhere and did something, he paid for all that. But he trusted me with that. But we never had a loyalty thing. No, never. But did we have differences? Yeah. I mean, we're all psychos. I mean, I'm looking at one thing and but that's what made it fun. It made it fun. I hope that answered it.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'm so glad. And that's what I expected. No loyalty issues.
Thank you, Bridget. That was a great question. Very, very deep, but I loved it as well. All right, let's now go on to Eric Kessler. Hi, Eric. Let me ask you to unmute. Okay.
So I'm good to go.
Yep.
I've been a member of Passive Nation Group for 2.5 years. When I first got into this place called OnPassive, I got in because Arthur Gawley told me about it, and I thought, well, maybe they can show me how to market, and I can get in a network marketing company. I knew I wanted to do something, and so not too long after I joined under Arthur, he says, you need to get in OnPassive Nation. And I said, well, what's that? And he told me it's a Facebook group. And I didn't really know much about Facebook groups. So I said, well, are you in their downline? Because that's the way I talked. I came from MLM world. And he said, I don't know if I am or not. And he said, but you don't have to be to join their group. And I go, you're kidding. What kind of deal is this? You don't even have to be part of their group to join their group. I said, wow, that blew my mind right there. I said, wow. And so I got in there and I listened to him talk. I got to know him a little bit. And I thought, hey, these are some sharp dudes, right? I said, like that old Herman's Hermit song, something tells me I'm into something good. And that was because I'm Passive Nation. And so I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do? Because I was just going to sit back and see what happens. I mean, if this is going to develop or if it's just going to be another one of those things that take your money and run. And so I got to know them and I thought, no, they wouldn't be doing this unless it was real deal. So I just kind of grabbed a hold of their coattails, and wherever they went, I went. And Mike Hord started his webinars, and Marty sent me a thing saying, hey, come to this webinar. I was there. And so needless to say, my admiration for these guys haven't dwindled one bit. They've only grown. So glad that I'm part of OnPassive Nation. I mean, I'm super glad I'm part of OnPassive, of course. But OnPassive Nation is really a home within a home to me. And I really thank Mike and Dan and Marty a lot. They're great guys. They give your time. I look forward to Marty's lives every day. And then you hurry up and put your name in because he wants you to call. You want him to call your name. I mean, you do. We're like little kids. Call my name, Marty. Because it's fun, and it makes us feel like we're part of it. And so that's all I got to say. And my heart's out to you guys. And thanks for all you do. And bless your hearts. Okay, so that's it.
Thanks, Eric. That was very heartfelt. I loved it.
Yeah,
All right.
just very quickly, Lynn. You don't have to think you're part of it, Eric. You are part of it. You don't have to think. You are part of it. And Marty, Dan, and I, this is one big family. Everybody here, you're part of the family, guys. Whether you like it or not, you're part of the family.
Indeed. Very true. We are a big, big family, and this family is getting even bigger. All right, now we go to Listra Tuak in Canada. Hi, Listra. You can unmute.
Hello, everyone. Okay, I have a big question, but first, listening to the three of you and what you went through before OnPassive, all the losses and the stress and everything. I was there too for a short while, trying one after the other, and this will fail and the other will fail. And I had stock in my basement and the works. Now, my big question to the three of you, why didn't you reach out to me to join you way back when? Who can answer that one?
I
Marty?
wish I did. Okay, that's all I can say. I wish I did. Yeah.
I mean, just think, 3 men and a lady. You
I
guys would
did,
have been made.
Lister. I reached out to you, Lister, but you didn't answer my calls.
Oh, did you? Oh my
I emailed
gosh,
you all the time, and I invited you, but you never answered.
Oh, shoot. I missed out on that. Oh my goodness. But anyway, seriously though, let's say that I have a product, okay, that I want to put on the website. So I realize that that traffic will be driven and so on to it. What part do I have to play in there? I'm not sure. Can someone answer that?
Let me start that, Listra. Yeah, then you can come in, Marty. You don't have to play any part in it if you don't want, but I would recommend that you do play a part in it.
Okay.
You're very, very good, Listra.
Oh, thank you.
If no one's ever told you that, you are. And there are things you can do to introduce whatever it is you want to put on the platform and drive traffic to. And when people come in and see you, it makes an impact. You might not know that, but it does. So whatever product you're thinking about, putting it on the ONPASSIVE platform and driving traffic to it, I would recommend that you take an active role in that and actually do some videos. And you've got a great presence, a great voice, and I already know you're really, really talented. Much better than me, Marty, Dan. And so, yeah, for me, I would recommend you take an active role in whatever you're going to promote.
Okay.
Marty, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything outside of ONPASSIVE itself, like ONPASSIVE is AI driven, so there'll always be some kind of follow-up or reminder or go this way, go that way, push this button, whatever. When AI is involved, in fact, it'll get better as time goes on because it's machine learning. Now, if you introduce something, you could drive traffic to it, but like Mike said, if it's another company, you would be the one that would follow up with them. You'd be the one that follow up and, let's say somebody signed in, they opted in, but they didn't pay. You would want to have an email to send them through the email system that ONPASSIVE has and say, is there anything you need? I see you signed up, you didn't pay. Do you have any questions? Stuff like that. I think a follow-up for individual products and companies outside of ONPASSIVE, you would probably have to do. But the traffic and people going to it, which is the hardest part of all, you can have the company do it for you. But like Mike said, Lister, you get on a video, a couple seconds and answer questions and somebody, because a lot of people get in, whatever they're doing, they buy something, they get this stop thing where they go part way and they stop. I've seen it everywhere. And you go back to them and say, hey, I noticed that you got in and you looked at this and this. Is there any questions that you had? And you'll find out that they did. Okay. But they didn't know who to ask. They didn't know where to go. And they say, yeah, I don't know. Is this a one-time payment or is there an auto ship or do I have whatever it is you're selling? Okay. You answer that question, they pay, if it's an answer they like. So yeah, that's all. You can have a series of follow-up things that you want for that particular business. But remember, in an affiliate business or an email business, let's say you took ClickBank product and you put it in Marketplace. They have all the follow-ups. Once somebody comes in, ClickBank has follow-ups for each product. So on that case, you don't have to really do anything. If it's a good product and people like it, I really expect many, like Mike said, millionaires to come from the offset of ONPASSIVE. People that have come into ONPASSIVE and using ONPASSIVE, because the day will come, and you've heard us say this, where we'll become the hunted. What that means is there'll be a day that we do not have to market. People say, how can that be? Facebook doesn't market. If you get to 1 billion people, for example, people are coming to you to market. Why? Because we are the consumer. They don't care what they're selling. They're going to come here. They're going to come to you and say, listen, do you care if we put a Nike advertisement on the bottom of your page, little square? Say, no, it's okay. You'll get revenue from that. I'm saying, really, this is how big this is going to get. People will come to us because what are we? We're consumers. Let's not kid ourselves. And when you get over that hump, I don't know what number that is. Is it $1 billion, $1.5 billion? I don't know. When that happens, it's happening already, by the way, but companies are going to come to us and say, hey, I want to advertise this. Just like Facebook. Facebook collects, everybody thinks it's a free social site. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. They make all their money from advertising. If you go on Facebook and look at all the ads on the right side, they're all paid for. If you look at an ad in the center that says sponsored, that's paid for. You click on it, the guy that owns it has to pay. So that's where they get their money. Same thing in ONPASSIVE. The difference is ONPASSIVE is going to be clean and legit, and they're not going to sell your information. But you can sell anything if it's legit and do very, very well. I believe that. In fact, I know that's what's going to happen. I hope that helps anyway.
Oh, yeah. Thank you all. And Mr. Street, I'm not happy with you because you just didn't try hard enough. Thank you, guys.
Maybe she'll forgive you eventually, Dan. We'll see. All right, now we go on to Patricia Parent. Good to have you here, Patricia. Go ahead.
Trying to unmute. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Pat Parent, and I'm your friend, and I am grateful, blessed, and thankful to be here. And I have the double M's and D with me right here on the panel, the two M's and D. Mighty, magnificent, dynamic team, ONPASSIVE Nation. Thank you, Marty, Dan, and Mike. It's grateful to be a part of it. You guys always talk about duplication. So you got your duplication from Mr. Ashmafara with your passion and your heart, and you keep sharing it with everyone, and you give us endless grace, and you keep teaching us, and it's such a blessing, and you do it with such gentle guidance. How do you do that when you have negative people out there that come back at you? Like my own family, I had my daughter the other night say, well, Mom, it's been over 3.5 years and you haven't made a penny. And I said, but you know what? You went to nursing school for 4 years and you never made a penny. How did that help? I paid $97 and you probably maybe paid $97,000 for your education. But I said, one day, those apples are going to turn into watermelons, and look out, the train is coming. So I was grateful to have that extra guidance from Marty, Mike, and Dan, and all the leaders, because it gives me the ONPASSIVE spirit. And everything I feel it comes from my heart, and it comes from the Lord. And each day I wake up, I receive visions from the Lord, but I also receive everyone's vision through ONPASSIVE. And timing is the key. And I don't know, I just get teary, I guess, and faithful and trustful and blessed and believe and keep moving. And then Mr. Ash the other day gave us, I have to look this up, sorry. I have too many pages. I make lots of notes. Futuristic. So I've added a few words to that. So we can say hashtag futuristic, hashtag fabulous, hashtag focus, and hashtag fun. Because that's what ONPASSIVE is. We have a fabulous, massive family. We all focus together. We all have fun, like Susie always says, the F word, fun. So now I've added the 4 words. But we have to still go back to the Where am I here? The 3 S's. ONPASSIVE is superior, sophisticated, and secure. But you know what? Every one of us are superior, sophisticated, and secure in our own ways. And I have to thank each and every founder for bringing that out in me. And Marty, you've done lots for me, and you probably don't even realize it. Just with the little pushes that you gave me. And I really have to thank my sponsor, because he brought it to me. And I believe it was from the Lord bringing it to me. And when I had the passion after getting really sick, I haven't looked back. And when everyone said, start doing lives, I tried a few, but I got nervous. I don't come on many. I go on lots of webinars, but I don't speak. But I'm learning. And that's what ONPASSIVE wants us to do, is to learn, trust, and believe. And I am so grateful that everyone gives us the opportunity to do it. And Marty, I think I have a diamond in the rough for you to help me with. And we'll go from there. And everyone, remember, full acceptance with ONPASSIVE, full acceptance, and we'll go a long ways, because we are in the greatest shape of our life. I have no doubt about it. Thank you, everyone, for letting me speak tonight. I'm on oxygen, so I didn't put my camera on because it's just me. But I do try and do lives. Thank you, everyone.
You do a great job of lives.
I want to say one thing, Lynn. She talked about Pat Parent is a superstar, no doubt about it. She's come so far, and I'm really proud of her. But she talked about how do you keep going when there's negativity. I'm going to keep it very simple. If you're full of trust, faith, and belief, there's no room for negativity. There's no room for me to even hear it. I don't think about it. I don't care about it. It doesn't do me any good. I don't care what negative people think. I mean, what do they have? It really, that's the truth. How do you keep going when people are bad mouth? I don't know. I don't even think about it. I don't care. If you really believe and you really have trust, those things can't bother you. It's not that they don't. If you really have faith in the company and you trust in the company and Mr. Mubarak, believe what we're doing, that stuff doesn't even, it can't even pinch you, much less hurt you. It's nothing. So if things bother you, you're not quite in deep enough. When you get there, you'll see what I mean. None of that bothers me. Absolutely none. I laugh. It means nothing. And thank God Mr. Mubarak is even more so, because he's getting daggers and knives thrown at him all day while walking through cow manure while he builds a company for people, complete strangers. So you think I've got it bad? I always think about him. That's what keeps me going. If he can do what he's doing, I could surely do what I'm doing, because it doesn't bother me at all. Very zero. Absolutely zero. Really, I mean that. Yeah.
I didn't need to hear it for myself, but I know there's a few of my founders that need to hear it. And I'm going to be sharing exactly what you said to them, because I've been saying it for 3.5 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. Those words from Marty give us strength and the will to carry on and steer straight ahead. Regardless of what hits us, we still go straight ahead. We'll get to where we want to go. And we are on a great, great journey in ONPASSIVE. We're so blessed. All right, so Pat is our last commenter, as we had already agreed on, Ashok. So thank you for understanding that. So now we're going to go on to, I want to ask a couple of the OWinners to speak. And who are OWinners? Well, this group, it's a new webinar. I think this is the 4th webinar that we have had. However, before the webinar was made public, it was a very small group that met twice a week for 2 long years. And they became very bonded and close with one another. And today we would like to acknowledge a couple of them. First, I'm going to have Dolly Lambe come speak with us. Let me unmute you, Dolly. Go ahead, Dolly.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Wow, what a webinar. I just am full. I need another self of me to pack in everything I've gotten from this webinar. It is so much. Marty, Mike, Dan, I couldn't say thank you enough. Lynn, as usual, as always, Auntie Lynn, as we'll call you, you're a superstar always. I had something prepared, but truly speaking, I'm not even gonna go there. Time is catching us up a bit on that. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about something, a quote that I recently came across by Nicole Musselman. And it says, the best way to predict the future is to create it. It's not to go to some palm reader to read your palms and tell you, oh, you're going to do this tomorrow, you're going to meet this by next year. It's not going to a talisman to tell you what's going to happen to you. It's by you creating it. And when I read that quote, the only thing I could think about was Mr. Ash Mufareh. This is somebody from the goodness of his heart set out to do something fairly simple for the marketers online. If I remember correctly, for my 2.5 years now in ONPASSIVE, he started off with a small, a hefty goal, but nothing compared to where we are today. And why did he start off in that? I don't know, I haven't spoken with Ash. This is just a guess. I think it's because he wanted to see a better future for all those people, all those marketers online who were failing, who, like Marty said, or Dan and Mike, they could not carry them on that journey that they were on. I am one who has touched on a little bit here and there. I dabble my hands in every little nook and cranny that I can. And marketing, online marketing was one of them. And I quit the very moment I joined. But again, because of the heart that Mr. Mufareh has, and I bet it was difficult even before I came in. And even when I joined, he had some difficulties along the way, but he didn't quit because he had a goal of creating something that would literally become the future of everybody who is on this ONPASSIVE nation. And so as I leave tonight, I want you guys to think about that quote just a little bit more. Again, I don't want to go deep into it because of time. But again, the quote goes, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I think each and every founder that is in ONPASSIVE is creating that future for themselves, for their loved ones. And together we're creating that future for the world. So I couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be more happy. I couldn't be feeling more blessed to be a part of this ONPASSIVE nation. I hope each and every one of you feels the same way. Yes, we'll have those negativities. We'll have all of that come our way. But remember, we're in this not only for us, but for everyone else that we love and for the world as a whole. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and you all have a blessed evening and a blessed week.
Thank you for that lovely sharing that you did. And, you know, Ash Mufareh, I think he's a role model to many of us. Gives us inspiration and strength. Thank you so much, Dolly. Now we go on to Abraham Paosi. He is also an O winner, and he's going to talk with us.
Hello, I will not call names. I will greet all, the founders from the North the south, the east, and the west. And what brings us together is the center. And that's where we hold hands, and that's where all our energies converge. Abraham Pausi is my name. I didn't choose that name. But I think that I aspire to become unpassive. I'm a founder though, but I think it doesn't suffice to become a founder. It's not, a sort of end result. When I become a founder, what do I expect of myself? I think I can contribute in creating growth and superiority products. I need to become a very good product of Unpassive. When we talk about growth, I will not say what has happened since 2018 till today. We know that we grew in the quantity, the number of products that have been built, online products, physical products, locations. We know all that. We also know that we have grown a lot in terms of quality. And we know that the guys in Hyderabad, the tech team, under Mr. Ashmofare's guidance, they are polishing everything. We have also grown in terms of time. What I understand by growing in terms of time is not that we have taken a lot of time, but it means that we have cut down the time that we could take to build what we have built, the quantity and the quality we have built. We have done that in less time. So we have grown. And as I was asked to talk about growth and superiority, I'm a bit embarrassed when I want to talk about superiority because, growth is a process. Superiority is a position, a status. And let us agree, please, that when we say we have superior products, it's because we are doing marketing. It's not because we think that we are superior to others. For the purpose of marketing language, let's accept, please. But we want to become superior human beings. And if we are superior human beings, we are superior within ourselves. We are leaders. We are not superior human beings as such. We need to build amongst ourselves from our own guts. And I think even Mr. Ashmofare, he's not superior to any one of us here. That's why he says, I'm Mr. Ashmofare, I'm your friend. And we know friends are not superior. So all the tools, the superior tools that we have, all our products, they are products where we want to use them as tools because we want to do something. We want to affect our communities, our families, humanity. It means that there is a lot to do. And I think that we will have a lot to do in the coming months. Because as I said, it's a process, growth. The tech team, they've been working for 4 years, and they will never leave their laboratories. When they deliver, what do we do of the deliveries or of the deliverables? We need to also deliver in our communities, so that they should be proud, so that they should understand that what they are doing is paying off. It's not paying off only in terms of dollars, in terms of apples, in terms of value. So that they should be proud that thanks to what they are doing, founders, Unpassivians are serving their communities. So the question I would like to ask here, asking myself, thinking out loud, because I know where time is against us. I think it's about 3 a.m. here in Bamako, in Mali, where I am. Is I think I noted it down. A question for us individually and collectively as a family. As I said, the tech team is improving our tools far beyond our imagination. They will continue to do so because they will face a lot of challenges. How do we, founders, grow as quality human beings, assets to our families and communities, as I said? How do we reflect on passive? How do we reflect on passive? Because, you know, when I click to link number 59, what I see, the standard, the quality, the model that is ours, inspired to us by Mr. Ash Mufari. If we want to go to our communities and then do what we want to do with OWinners and all what we have as all our personal projects, we need to put ourselves at that same level, that standard of ONPASSIVE. So I really hope and I know that we will become superior human beings, because every day we will improve ourselves. We will always make in such a way that good people whom we are already become better people. Thank you very much. And special thanks to all the OWinners who are behind the scenes, following the torch bearers, Bob Takusi and Oliver Fonte. Thank you very much, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you. That was a very, very thoughtful contribution. Appreciate you very much. So thank you to our OWinners, Dolly and Abraham, who have been rocks and pillars of the OWinners group.
Hey, Lynn,
OWinners, yes,
Lynn,
go ahead.
Let me say one thing, just very, very quickly. The topic that you just brought up, Abraham, it is about a 2-year process of conversation. That's a massive, massive subject. And it's one I think is in ONPASSIVE. ONPASSIVE is part of that spiritual journey, that spiritual side of us. And I'm going to leave it there. I love to talk about this stuff, but if I started talking about it, we'd be here for another 2 hours easy. I know Dan would chime in and Marty would chime in, but very, very, very good.
Thank you. It's very deep stuff, right, Mike? Really good stuff. Awesome. All right. What we want to do now is we're going to finish up with our speakers. So we're going to do it in this order. We're going to have Julie Wynn speak, and then we're going to have Daryl Cook speak, and then we'll have Sampat Patel speak. So you guys will be ready. So we'll start with Daryl Cook. You can say a few words, please, Daryl.
Wow, what a surprise. Just really appreciate this platform tonight. So glad I was able to come on board. And I just want to thank Marty, Dan, and Mike, because, you know, everything that they said about allowing people to come and to grow within themselves with the platform of ONPASSIVE is so true. And they've allowed me to come into that circle, and I really appreciate it. And Mike reflected on the aspect of, you know, how do you continue to keep going, and what's the process behind it? And it is trust. And that's what I received from Dan at first. We were in another business, and we built that trust amongst us. And you know what he did? He allowed me to use his trust into Mike and Marty, and to be able to build that. And that's true leadership. And I think that's what's happening in this whole entire organization of founders. And I just want to really thank you guys for helping me come beyond, you know, my little circle, and to be able to be in a business level that I had no idea what was coming when Dan said, hey, I think you ought to look at this thing. And really thank you. And Lynn and all the other leaders. I think of the tech guys. Look where it's grown. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. I know I surprised you. Next we have nice surprises here. Okay, now we've got Julie Wynn. Julie, are you ready?
Thank you, Lynn. It is a surprise. And I get to speak after Daryl. Wow, how do I match that? But I'm so thankful that we are part of OWinners, because we are already winners, right? We are already winners. We are already in Unpassive. And thank you, Marty, Dan, and Mike. I love those names. Those three names always go together. You can't go with one and not the other two. And thank you for the cultural that you are putting together in Unpassive Nation. We are together for a reason. I believe that there are a reason for everything that's happened in life. And we are here together because every single one of us had a dream. Yesterday through OBLESS, I did share a little dream of the girl who was 8 years old, and now 40 years later, that dream was met, and she's here with us. And it's truly what we are here because there's a higher purpose that we are here. And our CEO, Mr. Mufarek, talk about loyalty, about trust. Once you lose the trust, you can never have the old person back. You got to take years and years to build it back. That's why we are here. We trust it. We trust someone. We trust our CEO. We see the vision, and we are trusting each other to be in the same place at the same time. And I'm really speechless because there are so many gems in Unpassive, and many of us are here with a purpose. I'm here with the purpose of seeing all the gems and who do I connect with? How do I learn from this person and that person? And I believe the learning is continuing every single day. Every time when we go into webinar, we can pick up one thing or two things to be able to bring it back into our life. When we are together, I believe that we can take out the negative part, bring in the positive part from outside into, you can call it a family, you can call it a community. I'm looking forward for bringing more of the positive into my life, into my own community, and also sharing what's the positive impact and the positive effect in my life with other people. So thank you everyone here for sharing. Thank you, Dan, Marty, and Mike. Those three names always will be together. And I love you guys, what you are doing to Unpassive. You have made a biggest impact in many people's lives. So I'm so proud to say, oh, I know those guys, right? I've spoken with them. I interview them, you know, so it just makes me proud to know that that I get to be part of it. So thank you, OWinners, for doing this. Thank you, Unpassive, for giving us the opportunity to be here. All of our dreams have already met. If you haven't, you're on the wrong place. You gotta go, you gotta look into it. You gotta dig deep, right? Your dreams have already met. Trust me, it's there. You just have to see it. Thank you so much, Lynn and OWinners for having this platform.
You're welcome, Julie. Thank you for speaking today. Next, we move on to Sampat Patel, our leader in India. We'd love to hear from Sampat. He has been very faithful in promoting webinars. He does a lot of promotion, and he promotes for everybody. So he's really a good guy. We'd like to hear from you, Sampat.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I am out of station, so I can't sharing this time. So thank you, everybody, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Okay, that was short and sweet, but I'm glad we heard your voice. Again, Sampat, we want to thank you for helping our webinars. You help with a lot of the promotion, so I appreciate you very much. All right, next we go on to Collins Mana. He's one of the 4 OTech pros, and he lives in the United Kingdom. Go ahead, Collins. Did he drop out? I don't see him. He was here earlier. Let me check really quickly.
Yeah, he has gone to bed.
He went to bed.
It's 4 a.m. there. Yeah, he just went.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know he was trying to hang in there for us. I should have called him earlier on. I'm sorry about that. Okay, now we go on to Oliver Fonte, who is one of the host of this webinar. Go ahead, Oliver.
Yeah, hi everybody. I want to thank Dan, Mike, and Marty for all the words of wisdom that you guys have answered the questions. You've talked, you gave us some words of wisdom and your journey, and want to say thank you very much. And the CEO talked to us about trust, and loyalty. And that is why we are all here, the 1.455 million founders. That's why we are all here. And that trust is what has made all of us to be here today. That loyalty is what has made all of us to be here today. And I just want to pray and say, we should continue with it and replicate ourselves also. So now that we are waiting for our products them to go out to be commercialized and for us to make commission, we should use it also. Yes, the CEO said we should fill our tank. Yes, we'll fill our tank, but we should also know that we need to replicate ourselves. We need to touch lives, and we need to make sure the humanity that ONPASSIVE is all about, we should be able to respect it and perform. So that the CEO told us also one time that Mother Teresa was a good woman, that she was a good woman, but she didn't have enough resources to touch lives. So now that we are here, the 1.445 or 1.5 million founders, we should also please try and see so that we should be able to use Mother Teresa's words and touch lives also. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oliver. Now we go on to Bob Takusi, our other host.
Oh boy. Okay. The dynamic throw has actually, engaged all of us tonight at a rate that we did not expect, actually. Thank you so much, brothers Marty, Dan, and Mike. It is an honor for us to have you here this evening to enlighten us on your journey, to enlighten us on the growth of ONPASSIVE, to enlighten us on her superiority. We really appreciate you being here. I want to thank all the founders worldwide, from Mali to India to Canada, all over the United States. So it's good to be here. The growth of ONPASSIVE is very clear. It's in front of all of us. Her growth and her superiority, it's there. It's in front of us. We can see it. This is a dream that came from one individual with a heart of gold. Ash Mufari. One man from Orlando to Calcutta. I believe he was in Calcutta that he bought the first company that was winding down with a few employees. From Calcutta to Bangalore. From Bangalore to Hyderabad. From Hyderabad to Singapore. From Singapore to Burj Khalifa 134, 151. And then possibly DIC, Dubai Internet City. Growth. That's a company that has not yet launched to the world. It's just preparing all of us, preparing the founders, making sure we have the most superior products, making sure we have the most superior employees, making sure we have the most superior buildings. Everything about ONPASSIVE is superior through her growth. One man. He has finally gotten 1.455793. That's the number. But it began with one person. The founder himself is superior in all aspects. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Find out which of these Fortune 500, the big tech companies, take one of their founders, put them alongside Ash Mufareh. Their academic credentials, look at it. ONPASSIVE is not a company that is starting from a dormitory on a project. No, it's not. Or at a garage somewhere. No, it's not. ONPASSIVE is being delivered by a seasoned technician with the credentials. So he can take his time, build it, and build it right. You know, one of the stories that will be told about ONPASSIVE, ladies and gentlemen, one of the untold stories. I speak as someone in the industry, with my friend Oliver and my brother Collins, who could not stay long, who could not hang on. Someone inside the industry, we use most of these products, we know how they work, how they are built. One of the stories that will be told about ONPASSIVE is the time that Mr. Mufareh and his team took. Every single one of us in the industry will tell you that ONPASSIVE, as we know it right now, the little that we know, the 10% that we know, as we know it right now, is a project that should take between 5 to 8 years. So for us to be here at this point and understand the superiority of ONPASSIVE, as we all took a peek on Monday, what we saw on Monday, Oliver and I and the rest of my friends will not be able to sleep. Just a preview of what that Mr. Ash just opened the door a little bit for us to peek in to see what is coming. Guys, this is the place to be. ONPASSIVE. It is a real global stimulus plan. The timing is right. God's hands is upon this man and this company and all of us. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. I know we've gone above time. Antilene, I know we prepared more than this, but we're going to cut it short. I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here with us. We hope that you got some value from us tonight. We're going to be here again next Wednesday, same time. Something different. Thank our DJ Skipper for energizing us before we started. You know, here at ONPASSIVE, we either educate, we ignite, or we inspire, and we've had all three tonight. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good evening. Back to you, Antilene.
Thank you so much. All right, so this is the time where we're going to thank everybody. And after we do the thank yous, we're going to go into a prayer with Father Blaise. So what we're going to do is let you know before we start the prayer that if you want to exit, you're free to exit. Prayer has been a tradition of the OWinners for the past 2 years, and it's something that we would like to continue. But in deference to all of you, we will tell you when the prayer is going to come, and then you're free to leave if you wish. So right now, I would like to do thank yous. Thank you very much to Mr. Marty DeGarmo. He opens up our webinar, he live streams it, he records it for us. He's very faithful. Thank you to Marty. Thank you for helping us get our 3 ONPASSIVE Nation people. It's you, Mike and Dan. Thank you for getting them to come tonight and arranging what you guys were going to say. I appreciate you for that. I want to thank our promoters. So this is a new category that I'm including because it is something that makes or breaks a webinar. If you have good promotion, you will have good attendance. If you have good content and you run the webinar correctly, people will come back if they're getting value. But promotion is a big deal. And promotion is not something that everybody wants to do. It can be drudgery. It's a thankless job, but it has to be done. So we have now a system that we've developed that seems to be working very well for us. So I want to acknowledge the people that are helping us promote on social media. So specifically, I'm going to give you the names of the people that I know have helped. There are others that I may not mention because I may not have noticed them helping, but these are the ones that are prominently helping OWinners webinar from week to week. Sampat Patel and Bhupender Singh. Gosh, they've shared my OWinners post over 75 times into 75 different Facebook groups. That's a lot of sharing. That's why I wanted to acknowledge Sampat and Bhupender. Thank you to Lishtra Tuak. She's helping with that as well. John Barilla, MK Kaylee, Gifty Safoa, Myra Aquino, Marcienne Hemabu, Frank Amposa, Gladys Nyaboro, Mohammed Azad Hossein, Pratap Kunshi. Thank you so much because you guys were doing a lot of help with promotion. I appreciate you so much. I also want to thank John Barilla. He is our webinar chat monitor, and I saw that everybody was very respectful of him, and it's a thankless job that he does for us all the time. So thank you, John Barilla. Appreciate you. I want to thank Myra Aquino. She's the one that creates our promotional graphics and our Zoom background. So you have it here today. It's a beautiful background, lovely, and we all enjoy it. So thank you so much, Myra, for doing that for us. Thank you to our leaders that spoke today. We had quite a few leaders speaking. You can see them in the participant list, so I don't have to read them out. They're the co-host here. They all spoke. Thank you for sharing with us your hearts and your thoughts. Thank you to our greeters. We call them our co-host greeters, Marcienne Hemabu and Sylvie Wanji. That's such an important job that you folks do so well. Thank you to Bob Takusi and Oliver Fonte. They are the creators of this webinar, and they make it happen from week to week. Thank you to Skipper, who provided lovely live music for us. Unfortunately, we cannot record it and live stream it because of YouTube regulations. But if we could, we would. But if you come on time, and if he's starting off the webinar, you'll get to hear him. And he's really a wonderful musician, and he has a good heart. All right, I think that's it. I think I've covered everybody. And I want to thank the attendees. That's you guys that are here today, because without you, we wouldn't have this webinar, right? So we appreciate you from the top to the bottom. We love you all and respect your time. And we hope to provide continual good content for you so that you will come back week after week. All right, so now we're going to take it to our prayer. This is the time, if you would like to exit, you can. And we're going to take it to Father Bless.
Hi, everyone. I am Blaise Nsangu. I'm your friend. Thank you to all the leaders, and you made me feel blessed with your journey today, by sharing your journey today. Let us pray. God of goodness, I come into your presence so aware of my human frailty and yet overwhelmed by your love for me. Teach me today to love you more. Help me to rest in that love that asks nothing more than the simple trusting heart of a child. Amen. Thank you. Love you all.
Thank you, Father Bless. That was beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to take it to the gallery. Let me put it on the gallery view. You can see each other now, right? Look at that beautiful background that Myra made for us. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Myra. All right, so we're going to now have our goodbyes, and it will be an extended period to say goodbye. And I do this for a reason. And so take your time, and everybody can unmute. I'm going to unmute everybody. You can say bye. There you go. Go for it.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Love you all.
Everybody.
Bye.
Have a great
Everybody.
webinar.
Bye. Goodbye.
Thank you from
Thank
Houston.
you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you from Houston, Texas. Good to you.
Daryl.
Nice from Philadelphia. Very nice webinar.
you, Mike. Dr. Bill.
Amazing webinar.
It was amazing.
Dr. Bill.
Awesome.
Dr. Bill.
Awesome.
Wonderful takeaway.
Eileen.
Cynthia.
Thank you. Thank
Later,
you.
Cynthia.
Dr. Phil Williams.
Hello, Cynthia.
It was a great
Brian.
webinar.
Hello.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Here in the house. Good night, everybody.
And
Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
good night, all. Good night.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joyce, for coming.
Thank you,
So
Mama.
glad that we had this time
Say it, Marty. Say it,
together.
Marty.
Hey, Bruce.
Bye.
Nice to see you again.
Doing this.
Thank you, bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
all. Thank you, everyone.
Gael, good night, Gael. Good night.
Thank you, John
Goodbye,
Maria.
Lisa.
Thank you.
Hi, Mervyn.
From Canada to Bamako.
Auntie Lynn for
Love you all.
Thank you all for coming. See you next Wednesday.
Marty read Mike and Dan.
Bye from Thailand.
Bye, Julie.
Thank you, Lynn. Bon
Thank you, Lynn. Not bye.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful Goodbye, Ash.
Yeah, no, that one
was
is showing make
wonderful.
Thank you, Lee.
Night, Casey.
Connectivity really happened with massive.
Shining flowers. Thank you, Tanya. Tanya.
Was such a diversity, positivity.
Hello, Cynthia.
Hello, Marcy.
How
Stay
you doing?
loyal.
Good night. Have a wonderful
Good
night.
night, Muslim. Good night from Houston, Texas.
Hey, wait, you know what? I forgot to say something, and it's really important. Okay, so I wanted to thank Mr. Ash Mufara because he was actively chatting in my YouTube channel chat. So, you know, he spent some time greeting the people in the chat and actually having a dialogue. So I want to thank him because that shows a lot of love and caring. I know he has a very busy schedule, but the fact that he showed up and stayed for a bit, he loves us, people. He just loves us. So thank you, Mr. Mufara. We acknowledge your presence and involvement tonight in our webinar in the way that you could be involved. We appreciate you so much. All right, we continue the bye-byes. Unmute everybody. Go ahead, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Ash.
Thank you, Mr. Ash.
Love you back, Ash.
Thank you, Ash. Thank you, everybody.
God bless everyone. Have a great night.
Good night, all my peeps.
Thank you, Ed.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Mr.
Morning, wherever you are. And for all you do, you're awesome. Thank you.
You are great, man. Thank you, everyone.
We are in it to win it.
We are in it to win
Except
it.
yourself. Thank you, Lynn.
We are in it to win it. Thank you, John, the police of the chat.
You have showers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love you all. Thank you. You did a great job.
Don't run under a tree. There'll be apples from Unpassive for you and me. Yeah.
Sing it, John.
Have a wonderful
Everyone.
night.
Good
See you
night.
soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace from Thailand.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great to be here.
Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
Good night, night.
Myra.
We are all. We are
Night,
all.
Myra. Good night, Marcin.
We are all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night, Lori.
Hello, Madeline.
All you need to win it. Hi, Madeline.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, our winners.
Bye, winners.
Bye-bye, Casey.
Bye, everyone. Great to see you. Wonderful webinar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Go, Marcin. The value of time. Thank you, guys.
Merci, bonsoir, bonne nuit.
Where's Marty gone?
Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye, good night.
Good night, everyone.
All on Wednesday.
Night, Sylvie.
Thank you, Ma'am Lee.
Hi, Cynthia.
Night, Cynthia.
Thank
you,
and
Mamadou.
wonderful.
Thank you for being
Sylvia,
here.
good night.
Night.
Good morning, Marcin. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you all
Marcin.
for coming, and please come again.
Thank you for having it. Beautiful.